against the defending champs. Does this one just kind of hit different, especially since you guys were kind of looking up at them when they had a 30-point lead on you guys?
Does it hit different in the sense of what?
Does it tell you something deeper about your team compared to?
Yeah, it tells we ain't on their level. I mean, I've told you that before the game started.
Do you think you can reach that level?
Where they are right now? I don't know. Do I think we can reach the level where Milwaukee is right now? No. What you want to hear about me?
Russell Westbrook, who actually attacked his head coach after the Lakers lost to the Milwaukee Bucks. So we have a bunch of content to get to, you guys. Before we get to the content, just a reminder, Mike Korzemba and I are going on the Laced Up podcast tomorrow and doing a huge live stream where we cover the trade deadline. And of course, we're giving a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel $500, and an Instagram follower that follows us on Instagram $500 as well. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. This video is sponsored by Fetch Rewards. Fetch Rewards is an awesome application that allows you to earn rewards just from scanning your receipts. Anytime you make an online purchase or an in-person purchase, all you have to do is scan your receipt. You'll get points for those receipts, and those points can be redeemed for gift cards from Amazon and a bunch of other retailers. It's a great way to grind towards something that you wouldn't be able to typically afford by doing something that's fairly easy. And right now, when you use my promo code TheFlightMike, you'll get 3,000 points on your first receipt. That's promo code TheFlightMike for 3,000 points on your first receipt. And thank you, Fetch Rewards, for the sponsorship.
Russ, it's the second straight game that you've received boos after, a turnover. Is that a hard experience for you? I mean, this is home for you, and coming back was a special thing. Is that a hard thing for you to absorb in any way?
It's a sign of respect.
Mike check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? At the time that I'm recording this video, there's so much going on that I'm choosing to focus on the stuff that's already there. I did just hear a rumor that the Los Angeles Lakers are considering trading for John Wall. If LeBron James thinks that John Wall's a better fit in Los Angeles than Russell Westbrook, I honestly, just quick thoughts on that. John Wall hasn't played all season long. I don't know what type of shape he's in, but at the very worst, you get a guy that has the same amount of production as Russell Westbrook, but at least doesn't give you these holier than thou types of interviews.
It's not the end all be all, and there's something that bigger than basketball that we can do as people, and I understand that, so that's why I'm comfortable with whatever comes. Cheers, boos, doesn't really matter.
Which, personally, as a Laker fan and as a guy that was originally a big supporter of Russell Westbrook, and I know on this channel I may come off as a Russell Westbrook hater, but I was really hardcore supporting this guy. I didn't think trading for him ever made sense, but I always felt like Russell Westbrook in a Lakers jersey looked right. I always believed in the potential of this team. I always felt like LeBron James would somehow, some way make it work, because you don't just go and decide to trade for a player that doesn't fit on your roster and not have a plan for it, right? I mean, I think every single NBA fan kind of saw this situation coming, but we didn't think it would get as bad as it did. And I think yesterday against the Milwaukee Bucks, it reached a brand new low because it resulted in Russell Westbrook throwing shade at Frank Vogel.
Do you have a sense for what benchmarks you have to hit to be in the starting line or the closing lineup more consistently?
I don't got that answer for you, brother. I wish I did. I shouldn't have to hit any benchmark, to be honest. I put a lot of work in. I got a lot of respect in this game. I don't have to hit a benchmark. I shouldn't have to. I earned it right, to be in closing lineups. I mean, numbers will tell you. I don't have to explain that. But like I said, once again, that ain't my decision. That's his decision that he and their staff think is best for the game. And unfortunately, just got to go with it and figure it out the best way I can and be there for my teammates as much as I can and make sure I come into work and do my job as a professional.
What's that like for you guys as the starters to kind of be playing with different lineups out there and still
Yeah, it's difficult.
kind of figuring
It's
it
difficult.
out?
You don't never know when you're coming in. You never know when you're coming out. You never know when you're playing. You never know a bunch of things. And I'm speaking for me personally. So it's a difficult process to be able to figure out and creating a rhythm, creating some consistency where we can actually see what we're able to do as a team. But those decisions are made by him and his coaching staff, and you know, you got to live with it and move on.
And not really taking responsibility for how terribly he's played so far. To give you an idea, in the past 4 games, Russell Westbrook has reached brand new lows in terms of inefficiency, averaging 10 points per game off of 27.5% from the field, 15.4% from 3, and 55% shooting free throws for a -24. As a result, you got those depressing interviews from LeBron James and Russell Westbrook saying, hey, there's more to life than basketball, which I agree there is more to life than basketball, but when you're absolutely stinking it up for your team and your team has $48 million invested in you and you're not being hard on yourself, or at least not trying to seem like you're hard on yourself in interviews, and LeBron James is literally giving up on you on national TV, then there are some causes for concern. After all, if you were just one key in the cog, if you were a player making $10 million, that's okay. But if you're a player making nearly $50 million and you're one of the faces of this team, and the team went out and decided to sign a bunch of past their prime role players in order to add you to the team, if you're performing horribly and you don't really care, that's not the best look for you, bro. If you're throwing your coach under the bus, that's not the best look for you either. According to this article from The Athletic, Bill Oram of The Athletic indicated that sources have said that the Lakers no longer believe that they can win at a high level with Russell Westbrook alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But prior to Tuesday, the line of thinking was that the Lakers would be unwilling to wave the white flag and admit that their summer blockbuster was a failure. Instead, they would prefer to wait until the offseason, when they could also include a 2029 pick in a potential deal for another max contract player looking for a new home. But the tone after Tuesday's loss suggested that the Lakers are in need of more immediate action. Could things be so dire that the Lakers would be better off including that 27 pick in a swap now, save for Houston's John Wall, even if it means a lesser return? Desperation got the Lakers into this mess, and it might take desperation to get them out. Either way, whether it's by Thursday's deadline or in the summer, the Lakers know they need to find their way out of the Russell Westbrook business. Here's the thing, man, and I'm on record on my podcast with Mike Korzemba and Get Like Coop, the Laced Up podcast, saying this. Last year, I don't think we were a bad team. I will say this over and over again. If you guys remember, the wagon was just falling off of the wheels throughout the entire season. If you go back to last year and you really think about it, you had Dennis Schroeder, Anthony Davis coming back from injury at very weird times. Players were on again, off again injured. LeBron James had a freak injury to his foot that he's never had before, and he came back prematurely so he could play in the NBA playoffs. And then they ended up playing the team that was at full strength and would eventually go on to represent the West in the NBA Finals. I didn't think this was a bad team. I felt like this team just didn't have enough rest going into the season. They had 71 days to rest since the bubble all the way to the beginning of the new season, and I feel like ultimately that's what ended up causing them to suffer in the NBA playoffs. At least that team wasn't so top heavy, and it made a lot of sense. You build around Anthony Davis and LeBron James, you give them good role players, and you just sit back and see what happens. Yeah, there were some holes, but I don't think it was nearly as bad as now. You had assets and you had room to make some moves. And ultimately, and I would like to stress this, the go-to move in the summer was trading for Buddy Hield. Rob Pelinka was initially planning on trading for Buddy Hield, but Anthony Davis and LeBron James both said, no, we want a former MVP on our team. We'd rather you trade for Russell Westbrook.